A senior government source has told GBNews that no decision has been made about whether the northern leg of HS2 should be scrapped. But after a week of speculation, it is now being reported that Rishi Sunak has decided to ditch the high-speed rail link between Manchester and Birmingham. Where are we? Manchester. Yes, not a particularly great look. I'm joined in the studio by the wonderful Liam Halligan, of course, our economics and business editor. I've got Christopher Hope, who's our political editor, and I've got the man himself, Lee Anderson of our parish, but also, of course, the deputy chair of the Tory party. Can you just fill us in, Christopher, first on where we actually are? So what's the latest then?
The latest is that there are widespread reports that they have accessed the leg between Manchester and Birmingham. That was the leg which currently HS2, this high-speed link, goes from Birmingham to Old Oak Common, about 5 miles outside London, and that's it. And there have been lots of speculation. Indeed, this morning the Chancellor said to us there's been no actual decision yet. It will be made soon. We're told by the government that no decision has been made yet, but we do think it looks the mood music here is increasingly likely has been axed.
Yeah.
My colleague Kathleen Force has heard that from a senior colleague. I think how it looks, a helicopter view, stand back on this, it looks dreadful for the government's levelling up agenda. We're here in Manchester. All the money was spent on tunnelling underground in the south of England. They can't even link Birmingham to Manchester with this fast train.
Well, there we go. Lee, if it does emerge, as is becoming increasingly expected, that they will announce that they've scrapped that leg. How would you feel about that?
Well, let's be honest, Patrick, no decision made yet, so it's a bit of speculation at the moment from Chopper, but, people want a decision. That's the most important thing. They want a yay or a nay on this, because when I'm out and about in my constituency, and you're talking to people here, members and activists, whatever, it doesn't really come up that much, to be honest. Yes, HS2, it produces jobs and employment and training and opportunities.
It comes up here, though, Lee, doesn't it?
Because you're in a bubble. You're in a bubble. You're in a bubble in this place, Patrick, but actually on the doorstep.
Manchester, Lee, I don't just mean Conservative Conference, in Manchester, in the places where this thing was supposed to go.
You have to realise, Patrick, the whole country's got to pay for this. Every single taxpayer in the UK has got to pay for this project, and it's spiralling out of control. Now, I'm easy with it. If it goes ahead, I'll support it. If they scrap it, I'll support that either way. But we need a decision, and we need it very, very soon. Because, like I say, the costs each week are out of control.
So you really do have no strong feelings either way as to whether or not HS2 is scrapped. It's supposed to be levelling up.
When it was proposed to come to Ashfield, I opposed it, and I opposed it with Boris Johnson at the time. He scrapped it, and it's no longer coming to Ashfield. I'm delighted, and so are my constituents. It's as simple as that.
Chopper, I can see your screeny face up there a bit.
I wonder why you're delighted, Lee. I mean, this is a project which has spent £100 billion upwards on. It would cost more. You can't see a bigger white elephant that almost is a complete an insult to your government's legacy on levelling up by not linking Manchester to Birmingham, and tunnelling under the south to save the views of people in the south.
You go out in the streets of Ashfield and Nottinghamshire and the Midlands and ask them about levelling up, and they'll say sort our roads out, sort our schools out, sort our hospitals out. They won't say build another railway called HS2. That'll be the bottom of their agenda.
All right, Liam, I'll bring you in on this now, economics and business editor. Does it make financial sense to plough ahead with HS2 or to scrap the thing to Manchester?
Well, we've already spent about £30 billion on the London to Birmingham leg, as Chopper just said. The Euston Gateway, sort of like cathedral-like station in central London, that's been put on hold. So for now, it seems HS2 is going to terminate at Old Oak Common, which is in West London, the suburb of Acton. And then you've got to get on the tube to get to central London, which will take longer than the conventional train from Birmingham to London. Look, if we just do London to Birmingham, HS2 will be a complete white elephant. We already have 2 railway lines from London to Birmingham, Euston, New Street, and Marylebone into Snow Hill. These are decent railways. Just take 20 minutes off that journey makes no sense if it's costing you tens of billions of pounds.
Chopper, one sec. Sorry, Liam. Sorry.
So I've got a statement here. A statement here from number 10 just dropped in my inbox. These reports are inaccurate. No final decision has been taken on phase 2 of HS2. Now that's where we were this morning, but a lot of people are saying we are hearing from other people. Other ministers are telling people that it has been axed. So it is not clear right now.
It is inevitable, though, that number 10 are going to say that because they don't want to knock the Chancellor and his freeze on the civil service and his raising of the minimum wage, even though business will pay for that.
But that's now happened. His speech has happened.
Off the front pages. They want to try and keep control of the news. Now, we're all hearing from different sources within government, people who are upset that HS2 has been scrapped. We're all hearing that the decision's actually been made. Look, if we just do London to Birmingham, it's a white elephant. I think Lee's right. I mean, I've made a lot of documentaries in the past about HS2. People want in the north of England, they want Transpennine routes, they want better buses, they want better roads. They don't want a high-speed rail line that goes through all the northern towns and doesn't stop. That's the problem with it. And high-speed rail, it generally just brings more business to the capital. That's what the experience of France and Spain show.
Look, so the government there is coming out and saying this is a load of nonsense, what we're being told behind the scenes here. That, go on, read that statement again quickly, Chopper.
It says here, Numberton spokesman, so it's very rare they ever issue statements on these things. These reports are inaccurate, not wrong, but inaccurate. Let's wait and see. No final decisions have been taken on phase 2 of HS2. What that might mean is he might announce in his speech, the PM tomorrow, they're going to put more money into the link between Hull, Manchester and Liverpool. That could be what they're doing, the bits of HS2.
All right, Lee, go on.
Well, you know what, Patrick, what I want in my community and across the north and in the Midlands is for a little old lady to be able to get on a bus in one village to get to the next village. I don't want that little old lady sat there looking through her living room window and seeing a train going by at 120 mile an hour, a train that she can never get on ever in her life. That's what I want. Better local connectivity.
Business may want something else. Business can't get on the bus like the old lady.
This is actually an interesting divide within the party, right? Because
I don't think it's a divide. I want better connectivity. And like, we live in this bubble, Patrick, and we work in this bubble where we think everybody goes to London every day to work, and they don't. 99% of my residents, my constituents, never get on a train. I get on a train, but they don't, and they don't go anywhere on a train. So
I don't profess to know the party better than the deputy chair, but from my soundings, I've been covering this party my whole adult life. I don't actually think HS2 is very popular within the Conservative Party, among party activists. If Rishi Sunak, for all the embarrassment, you know, absolutely, we're in a former train depot here. If he takes the brickbats for scrapping or shelving Birmingham to Manchester, if that frees up tens of billions for tax cuts or for better buses or for a Transpennine route that actually works, then I think people in the Conservative Party will cheer.
So actually, Lee, you should be brave, because Lee has made a series of great points there. It's not that popular. Even the people who came up with HS2, I'm not convinced actually thought it would ever come to fruition. We now do have a cost of living crisis. That money could be spent elsewhere. Rural connectivity, Midlands and Northern connectivity. If Rishi Sunak was brave, what he'd do is he'd come out right now and scrap the thing, wouldn't he?
Well, I think if you gave the public a choice, especially where I live, between high-speed rail and better buses and tram services and local regional railways, they'd go for the latter, obviously. It makes common sense, and it's cheaper.
But what we can't get around, Christopher, is the fact that the Conservatives have been in power for 13 years. We've been ploughing ahead with this, and it has been a catastrophic waste of money. And regardless of whether or not people think the right decision comes around in the end, the fact is a load of money has just been burnt.
Yes, in the government's defence, they have spent 400 billion on a COVID pandemic since 2020. They've got 100 billion more has gone, well, a lot more money has gone on supporting Ukraine war. So there are extra costs on the exchequer, and that's what's driving this review by Jeremy Hunt. But I think if you take just a step back, it's a complete testament, I think, to a failure, I think, to link the north and the south properly, to spend all the money to save those views in the Cotswolds, tunnel underground, and then you can't afford a link between Birmingham and Manchester. It's a disgrace.
You think he'll come up with something else? You think he might soften that, you massage it a bit and say, OK, we're not doing
Almost certainly he will look at ways of extra spending in the north, linking, as I say, between Hull, Manchester and Liverpool. There's bits of the northern very part of HS2 spur they need for that link, isn't it, Lee?
So it's absolutely true.
And if he does that, that'll be more popular possibly than, say, if Keir Starmer goes, no, we're just going to plough ahead with it.
Well, look, we're a selfish bunch, especially in politics, and constituents are selfish as well. They want, like I keep saying it, better local connectivity. They want to get on a bus, a train, a tram to the next town. That's what they want. They don't come to London. They don't go to Birmingham. They don't go to Manchester.
If I was the PM tomorrow, you spin this by saying, look, last week I moved the time back to net zero for 2035. I'm making unpopular choices for national interest. That's what we'll say tomorrow.
Well, hang on, what's the slogan of this place here again? Long-term decision-making for a brighter future, or whatever it is. I mean, that's what that is.
I was talking to Alistair Darling the other day, former Chancellor, former Labour Transport Secretary, of course. Alistair Darling was the Labour politician who signed the original document which proposed HS2. The train left the station.
2008-9.
And Alistair Darling said to me, indeed in 2009, I signed the document, but I didn't think they'd be stupid enough to actually go through with this.
There you go.
There you go. Right. Another GB
Hello, laughter.
OK, so look, we are where we are with HS2. That is about as far as we can kind of take the discussion right now. We've spoken about the waste of money, whether or not it gets scrapped, all the kind of different permutations politically. Can I just refer a bit to something else that Jeremy Hunt was talking about, which was about the civil service, etc. You know, a bloated civil service, a waste of taxpayers' money, is it? Should we be cutting it back, getting them off the wage?
Hallelujah, Patrick. That's what we want to hear. You know, we've known for far too long a health service, our local councils, our district, our county councils. There's too much waste in there. We're creating too many roles, too many diversity officers. It's a load of nonsense. We all know it. The public know it. We need to trim it back and save some money and give the taxpayer good value for money.
Will we get better taxpayer for money? Taxpayer value for money, Liam? Do you think?
I think it'll be tough because the civil service are past masters at entrenching themselves, getting their own way, making passive-aggressive behaviour, making life difficult for ministers. I want to see more nurses and doctors. I want to see more police. I want to see fewer pen pushers in Whitehall working from home on their Peloton machines all day at my expense.
Well, it does stick in the craw, absolutely, that we have this idea of a seismic work-from-home culture within the civil service, while other people are trying to get up and get out.
Nurses can't work from home. Yeah, people work in factories.
And the question that always trips people up, by the way, when you get people from the unions on is why is a diversity officer worth 3 nurses? They never answer that. Christopher, do you think it makes political sense to say what Jeremy Hunt said today about that?
Yes, it does, and it's on him. This party's been in power for 13 years. They can do these things that Liam was talking about, and Lee's talking about. There's a guy called Steve Barclay, Health Secretary. He's cut 1 in 6 jobs in his department. It can be done. It takes a lot of willpower. He's a former Chief Secretary of Treasury, sat on the Public Accounts Committee, he knows about how money is spent. He can deal with it. With a political will, Patrick, they can do it, but they have failed that. Your party's failed this in 13 years, Lee.
Well, it's difficult, Chopper, to get the grips with it. It's got a culture.
That's not enough. You're paid a salary to do it.
You've got a culture within the civil service. This has come from 97, 98, from Blair's days, where they are awkward. As Liam said, they can go on strike. They can work from home.
They can leak.
They can leak stuff. Yeah, we can be obstructive in the Home Office. We've seen it. At least we're trying to tackle it head on.
Is there a genuine concern or thought within the Conservative Party that you are day in, day out doing battle with civil service, that they are actively against you?
I think it's not just us as politicians within the Conservative Party that sort of know. I think the country sort of know that as well, Patrick. You know, we've seen it with the nurses, the fire brigade unions. We've seen it with the civil service. There is a battle. It's been like a concerted effort since the pandemic, since we've come out of COVID. It's been like attack after attack on the government over public sector pay. But no, we've got to be strong. We've got to be strong. We've got to face them out. We see it with the junior doctors at the moment, and they will stop at nothing to bring this government down.
Okay, all right. Look, one more with you. Would you be happy if Nigel Farage joined the Conservative Party?
No.
Why not?
Because he'd take all the limelight off me.
Oh, you wouldn't turn down his membership, though, would you? No.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
it's his first party conference since 1987.
Yeah.
You and I, Patrick, were at a dinner, the Conservative Democratic Organisation, and Nigel Farage got a huge shout out from Priti Patel and a massive round of applause.
Can I say, I haven't seen an MP, a politician mobbed here like he was today since Boris Johnson was here a few years ago.
Interesting.
I'm telling you.
I think, watch this space. Just watch this space.
Oh, hello.
Stranger things have happened, okay?